Hey guys, okay, so one of the main questions I get asked all the time about going to SGU is not only why did I go out the country and why did I choose SGU, but what made me choose SGU over Ross. If you don't know, Ross is another Caribbean veterinary school. They also have a medical school, but it's on a whole separate island, unlike SGU. It's in Barbados. But Ross was the other school that I was accepted into. It's in St. Kitts. I got accepted, but ultimately, when I went and visited both, like within the same week across my spring break of my senior year of undergrad, I chose SGU. But I don't diss Ross. I don't think it's a horrible school or anything. It's just I felt that SGU was the best fit for me. So I've made a friend. She goes to Ross. Her name is Ashley. She has a YouTube. So be sure to check out her YouTube channel. Go like and subscribe her videos, especially if you're a prospective student, you've got into both, you're thinking about applying to either one. Her YouTube is a little newer than mine, but she still has pictures of the campus or videos about the campus, videos about dorm, videos about grocery shopping and all that. All the stuff you love about my page, she has some going for Ross too. Anyways, what we decided to do in this lovely quarantine was make a Skype call, comparing and contrasting Ross and SGU. We're going to discuss things from NAVLE score differences, things to do on the island, location. As many of you may know, Ross is a year-round school. All those things that you want to know, we try to discuss them, try to answer them. Also, like I said, we're in quarantine. This is on Skype. It was something that we saw some YouTubers do. So bear in mind, Wi-Fi, connection, all of that. But please listen through. I'm going to drop time cards below just so you can, like, if you want to skim, if you're looking for something exact, you can just go to that. But yeah, like, it's good information. Like, don't mind the quality of the video, more so the information. Also, once you're done with this video, be sure to go over to her page because we also uploaded a video onto her page contrasting going to vet school in the States versus in the Caribbean or out of the country. Good information for anyone considering to go to Ross, SGU, Australia, the UK, anywhere out of the country because we're discussing what the differences in cost and everything might be and just experience and why or why not you might do it. Anyways, without further ado, let me go get on Skype. Not really get on Skype because we recorded this yesterday, but let's go on and transition into the video. So now I'm on Skype with Ashley, so I'm going to let her do an introduction, introduce herself.
Hey, how's it going? My name's Ashley. I go to Ross. I'm in my third semester because we have a trimester program. I'm 22 and I'm from Connecticut.
Okay, cool. So I have a list of things that we're going to be discussing about Ross versus St. George's, just like I said in the intro of this video. And so one thing that a lot of people get confused about is just like how semesters work in the island and just how Ross's and SGU's school system is different. So for one, the main thing is that Ross goes to school, quote unquote, year round. And I'll let Ashley explain that. SGU has the more traditional, you go to school the fall and spring, and then you have the summer off. But then, of course, not in your clinical year. In your clinical year, you go all the way through. I'm going to let Ashley tell you her experience and her thoughts of like why she was okay with that.
Right. So one of the biggest differences is how fast you're going to get done. With Ross, you're going to be done basically 3.5 years if you include your clinical year, whereas like everybody else, including SGU, you're going to be done in 4 years. And then one of the biggest reasons I like that is because we get 2-week breaks, except for winter break. We get 3-week breaks in between each trimester. And I like that because there was no opportunity for me to completely like disconnect. With like a long summer break, I get, a couple months where I kind of get out of touch. And I know in undergrad, like it was rough to start in September. But with a trimester program, it's like, okay, like I got to breathe, but now it's like back to work. And it keeps me focused. And the other thing I like about it too is I've got a whole 6 extra months where when I'm done, I know that my interest isn't going to accumulate too much. Whereas if I was in school that extra 6 months, I know my interest would be a little higher. Fortunately, like a lot of internships, like they know we're from Ross, so they're okay with just the minimum 2 weeks. I know some places like they want at least 3 weeks to establish that kind of relationship that they can trust you. So that's when we, take advantage of our winter break. But other than that, yeah, definitely for like internships, it would be nice to have more time. I agree.
Okay, and then it kind of like leads into this like we're gonna do like a comparison and contrast of like flight. So like how much are flights to get to and from the island like in St. Kitts because that's where Ross is located. Like in like how do most students like take that? Like is it even worth it to go home in those 2 weeks, or do you find that most people stay?
A lot of people stay. I know people right now that are still there right now because They just don't want to pay for it. So
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, my first ever flight was about $1,000 round trip.
Mm-hmm. That's about
And
mine.
I mean, it just depends on the time of year. It's kind of crazy because it's like they know when we go to school. You know what I mean? Like
Up in prices. It's like a
every
yeah.
time. And it's crazy because like we have like mid-semester breaks where we get a day off. So yeah, it really depends when you fly. So we have a mid-semester break. And so last semester during October, I was curious how much it would cost if I flew home or if someone flew to me, and it was half the cost. It was only $500 to fly round trip. And I was like, are you kidding me? And then same
Mhm.
situation in June. I was looking, maybe my friends could come over the summer when it's a little warmer and they have some time downtime. Same situation. It was only $600. And I was
See,
like,
that's the same with us too. I mean, like, I don't think I've ever paid anything less than like $900 for a round trip ticket from Atlanta. And then the thing is, it's like it's never a direct flight, so I always have to go to Miami and then keep going. Or even if I would never go up to New York and then back down, but that's the other option because Miami and New York are the two hubs, JetBlue and American, that fly out. But no matter where you're flying out, people say JetBlue's a little cheaper, but it's still like over $700. Like, but then if you try to go home randomly in the middle of the semester or someone comes to visit, I've seen people like go like just to Miami round trip $300, and I'm just like, how? So I feel like that's something to consider. But I mean, it sounds like it's the same regardless.
yeah,
And most people that like my family helps me out a lot, but I know a lot of people like that just they factor that into their loans every year to
yeah,
like be able to.
definitely.
And
The
then
nicest thing is getting a American Airlines card, one of the
yeah,
flight cards,
I
because
have the
for $60 for March.
wow. Yeah, I have like the Sky Miles, so my miles accumulate, and then I also got the what is it called? Not the frequent flyer thing. It's not a passport. Oh my gosh, what is it? It's the thing where if you travel internationally a lot, you don't have to like stand in the customs line when you come home or when you
Oh,
come back to the
is
States.
that like the digital passport thing?
Yeah, it's a whole different thing, and I like recommend it to people now that I do it. But you pay like $100, and like you go like basically to like a passport agency. They're like, oh, you're not like a high risk person or something like that, and so you get to bypass the whole customs line and go to this special line. And like pretty much because you have that like done, it's just like look at your passport. Okay, just keep going, and it's like you get out the airport so quick,
I
and
did not
you
know
feel
this
like
existed.
yeah. I'll tell you the name of it. So it's $100 and it lasts for 5 years. So another thing to compare like the size of campus and student life, because in
Right.
St. George's, we have the medical school, we have a full undergrad like School of Arts and Sciences. So it's not only the vet school. Like the vet school, I think we're close to 700. The med school is a little short of 7,000. And the undergrad program has I think close to 2,000 because I think the whole school is about 11,000. So even student life, you have the option to like remove yourself from the vet school, like all the intramural sport teams and like any of the non-academic clubs. If you're on student government, it's everybody combined. And when you go
Right.
out at the little student bar clubs that everyone hangs out with, you see a mix of people. And me being a people person, I went to a huge SEC undergrad, so I like the big student life. So that was, I mean, just personally, that was something for me that like I didn't like about Ross. But
Right.
I mean, it horrible, but I just wanted to see your take on that for Ross.
Yeah. So I think in my first semester class, I've had about 200 people. So give or take, like people staying or failing, stuff like that. I think each semester for all the 7 semesters, let's say there's like 150 people per semester. So not that many people on the campus. There's a medical school right next to us. And then there's 2 more medical schools kind of higher up the mountain. But so I think
Oh,
there's
not Ross though.
yeah, it's not Ross. It's like
That's cool.
different. There's different medical schools, but there's one right next to Ross. So that medical school, we see them a lot like downtown on our strip of bars. And then like we'll host a beach fest and they host a beach fest. But it's not like we try to mingle and get everybody to hang out with everybody, but it's really like somebody that goes there. So then that's how they know each other. So the mingling thing isn't really working out too well. But
Yeah.
within the campus, I kind of like that it's a small campus because we call each other like a Rossi family because everybody knows everybody. And so even
Mhm.
if you know someone you know knows them. And so
Yeah.
everybody's connected with everybody. Like if you're struggling in a class, they're like, oh, this person I know did really well. I'll have them give you all of their notes. So we're all close, tight knit. Nobody wants to see anybody fail. So it's really nice to have that
That's
kind
cool.
of like family.
Because like it's like if you know at SGU, if you know where like the study halls where most of the vet people hang out and study, people
Right.
are willing to help like and everything. But that is, I do tours at SGU, and that's one thing people are like, how do you make friends? Like the campus is so big, and that's like one thing with SGU. I think when people come see it, they're blown away at how big it is. So they're just like, oh, like how am I gonna make friends? And I think they think people are just gonna be studying so much. But I'm like, no, there is still like a close knit, especially with the vet. We're so outnumbered by the med school that like when you see someone that's vet, it's like, oh, you're vet too. Like let's cling together.
Right.
So I still feel like it's like close knit too. It's just how do you want the whole campus size and population to be?
That yeah, your campus is huge. I saw it on Instagram and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is awesome." Yeah,
Right.
definitely an experience.
And then how you said your class sizes are usually about like 150, give or take.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Give
get
take.
I get asked that too. Like our fall class is always bigger than our spring class. So like I was in a spring class. We started with 116 people. Like my classes dropped down to 93, but they're still in SGU. They're just not in my class. And
Right.
then like, roommate, she started on a fall class, and their class I think started with like 155. So it just depends. And then like the spring class before me had right over 100. They were like 105. So it just
Right.
depends. I think they're trying to expand the vet school, especially at SGU, just because the med school is so big.
Right.
But like the vet school is still smaller. Like the staff, the
Mm.
resources were still small. So I think they can't expand it that quickly. But the class sizes are like gradually getting bigger. But so yeah, so it's similar.
On
What
that
are
note,
things like?
though,
Oh,
how does your failing work? Like, if someone fails a class or fails two classes, like,
mm-hmm.
does anyone get like kicked out completely if they fail two classes or?
So how it works at SGU, I actually have a friend, like a Grenadian friend, that she works for the school, and she specifically does this. She's the person that sends out the letters
Right.
if you like fail and everything. So how it works is that like, so say you get a D in a class, or yeah, say you get a D in a class. So
Mhm.
you get the option to take a resit exam at the beginning of the following semester. So if it's December, you failed Farm 1, but you have a D, and so the professor is kind of like, oh, maybe something happened. You were close to passing. You weren't all the way to F. You can take a what's called a resit exam, and then if you pass that, you'll pass this class with a bare minimum of a C. But
Okay.
if you fail that, then you failed that class, you have to decel. Also the same if you just get a flat out F, you have to decel. But they don't make you repeat the whole semester. You only repeat what you decelled in, but you
Mhm.
can only decel and more. I think you can't do more than like 2 classes. If you're doing more, if you're failing more than 2 classes, you have to like with like they I don't think they make you, but they highly suggest it, just withdraw from that semester. And it's kind of like an undergrad when you get an I on your transcript, you
Mhm.
get like an incomplete, so it doesn't count against you. And then the next semester you just start that whole semester over. And it
Okay.
works for people because like if you think about it, if you're like in your first or second semester when you're still in those big anatomy, physio classes that are super heavy on your grades, if you're struggling in like 3 of them, like don't gamble all the way to the end, make a D, and then still have to retake it. And now that D is weighing down, like just withdraw. And so sometimes they tell people, like, even if it's one class, like if it was histology in term 1, and that's the only class you're struggling in, around midterms, they'll tell you, like, hey, the likelihood that you're going to like pull this back up is low.
Right.
And we're telling you just go on and withdraw, like finish the rest of your term, but next semester you'll have to take histology. And
Mhm.
some people don't like that because they're just like, what's the point of me coming down here to take one class? But also, it's just like, I mean, you roll with the punches. And then also, so like that's called a decel. When you have to, whether it's one class, whether it's the whole semester, it's called a decel. You can't decel more than twice because I think they consider it like the equivalent of repeating 1 year in the States.
Mhm.
So it's kind of complicated, but like I feel like they give you a fair chance, and it's not just automatically like you fail one class, you retake it all. So that's how it works for us. How does y'all's work?
So basically, anything below a 69.5 is a fail. So if you fail one class in a semester, you can't move forward with the rest of the people in your semester. So you have to repeat that one class. And I mean, you're paying the full tuition. So you do have the option to take some extracurricular courses. Some people take courses that maybe they got a C in, that they're within that semester anyways, might as well retake them. Some people do that. Some people only take the one. So if you failed more than one class in that semester, you're done. You're out of the program. And you can go and, like, let's say you had like a family emergency or you were really just struggling, you can meet with the dean and a board of people, and you can present your case and why you would like that to be appealed and you would like to repeat the semester. And some people do get that appeal, but it's only in certain circumstances. And then let's say you failed one class one semester, and then later on you failed another class another semester, and then another class another semester. If you have 3 separate fails, you're done with the program too.
Yeah. So another thing, what's there to do like outside of school, like on the island? Because I visited St. Kitts and Grenada is similar. They're both one of the very small Caribbean islands, but just like what is there to do? I get asked that a lot. Like, what is there to do outside of school?
Right. I feel like there's a lot of fun things to do. So there's hiking, handful of beaches, and then if I just double back to that hiking thing, there's hiking the volcano, there's hiking to bat caves. There's even this one volcano that's like not really active anymore, but it still has like hot like craters. If you go within it, you can go within. And there's actually like a news story that happened. I don't know if you've ever heard about it. Like, this was over the summer. This wife and husband were honeymooning in St. Kitts, and he slipped and fell, and she caught him and saved his life. So, but it's they have pretty dangerous hikes, but like they are an experience.
Have you?
I have hiked one of the videos I made, actually. I hiked the backside of the volcano, and that's like known as one of the hardest hikes. The last time it was hiked, one of the med school students, like a group of med school students, went, and they were lost, and they had to stay there overnight. But it was intense. I was like climbing like ropes that were, who knows when they were put there, just like on the side of the mountain, and it was crazy.
Cool.
But it was such a good experience. And then the bat caves were cool too. And then there's even like some waterfalls if you keep going further. There's a bunch of beaches. Then it's cool because you can go snorkeling. And I've seen when I was just swimming, I've seen a bunch of sea turtles. But if you like snorkel in these certain places, there's a bunch of sea turtles. I know a lot of my friends are scuba dive certified, right? Scuba diving certified, and they've seen a bunch of sharks. Their like instructor that they went with was feeding the sharks, which was pretty cool.
That's cool.
We have like catamaran trips. I don't know if you guys do those. It's called the catamaran trip or a cat trip, and like it's this big boat, well, big, but it's like
I know what you're talking about.
40 or 50 bucks, and like all like alcohol is included, and they give you food, and they since we have Nevis like right here, we go to Nevis, and they pull over on the side, and we get to snorkel by like shipwrecks and stuff like that. So it's a pretty cool experience, and like you spend the whole day doing that.
Okay, that's cool.
We have lots of street food. You guys probably have street food too. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, we have ATV tours like through the like the trails, like the hiking trails. We'll have ATV tours, and sailing, jet skiing, like all the normal vacation stuff. I'm trying to think. Just like a normal vacation like experience, but like you get to experience it whenever you want.
That's cool. You know, jet skis are like illegal in Grenada. So you
really?
Ride jet skis there. There's like no jet skis, yes. But I mean, there's still speedboats and stuff like that, but no jet skis because they said it'll harm the marine life. But yeah, it's similar. So there's like the beaches. We don't have a volcano, but we do have like, it's a mountainous country. I mean, there's like steep hills everywhere, but there's like hikes that you can do. SGU even like, there's like a Grenadian hash company, and SGU has it. So people do the hashes, and they're like all around the island. There's like so many waterfalls that you can like hike to. Some of them are like very short and like paved. Some of them are like you have to literally like hike down into. We have the Mona monkeys that people like to go see. There's chocolate factories all around the island. There's rum factories, so you can go and they show you like literally like from tree to bar how they make the chocolate on the island, and it's pure because it's like dark chocolate. It's not like the Hershey Kit Kats in the store. It's like that real rich dark chocolate. Yeah, like you said, like going to the beach, snorkeling. People get scuba dive certified. I got scuba dive certified right before we came back. I was so upset that like now I can't even do anything. So but yeah, like you said.
But you're ready to go when you get back.
Right. A little bit. It's a little scary. It's probably one of the scariest things I've ever done in my whole life.
Yeah, people have been trying to give me a hard time that I should do it. I'm like, listen, I've got 2 years. I'll get there.
What it was for me is my girlfriend, because she's in the med school. It's her last. She has one more semester on the island, and we wanted to get scuba certified together. So we went on and did it this semester, so that next semester we could just dive all the time.
Right.
And then we had to go home. But so yeah, but it's cheaper too than in the States. So that's another reason. I was like, I'm gonna do it before I leave. Like you said, you still have 2 years. I'm gonna do it before I leave. But
same
so
kids.
Yeah.
I said the same thing in St. Kitts. It's cheaper to get scuba certified.
Yeah, and then I don't know if it's like that there, but like in Grenada too, like you said, we do the boats. A lot of students do that. They rent out like the boat and like 30, 40 people. It's unlimited drinks and food. But another thing, people go to the resorts. A lot of the resorts have day passes and they're like really affordable. And I mean, it's like you get everything. It's like usually food, access to the pools, access to the amenities. So people will do that, like, and go like and stay places. So
yeah, like we'll just like since like the island is like based off of tourism, anytime we go to like the Marriott, which is a beautiful hotel, I'm pretty sure it's like a 5-star hotel.
When I came to visit.
Yeah, or like Koi Resort is another really pretty one. So we literally just walk in and they just assume we're on vacation.
And that was one thing that got me in Grenada is that you can just walk on, like, even if you're not actually doing anything, you can just go. Like, sometimes, like, me and a friend have, like, literally gone just to eat lunch and just walk back off. Like they just open.
And they're like, what's your number? And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to use the room number today.
Yeah, or just like, and then like some of the places too, like even if you're not like getting a day pass or staying or anything, if you like go like say eat dinner there, you have access to the pools or something like that. So that's how some of them work. So some people will do that too.
Yeah, chilling. I love actually studying at the Marriott.
That's cool.
It's like a nice little disconnect, you know.
That's cool. Yeah. Okay. The one other thing, how do clinical rotations work? Like what's y'all like? Where are you affiliated with? And then I'll say like what's different, and then like how does Ross pair y'all or like assign you?
Okay, so the way that clinics work is for the most part, most of them require like a minimum 2.5 GPA. Other ones like Cornell, they require higher up in like the high 3.0s, stuff like that. But since we are a year-round program, not everybody is finishing in May. And usually clinics start up again in August. So fortunately, a lot of affiliates have been nice enough to kind of work with us. So for me, I'm going to be graduating from Ross in December. And a lot of affiliates have now like changed their mind. They said, okay, you know what, like you can start up in January. Not everyone is like that, but fortunately a handful of people are. How it works is I believe you put your top 4 choices down and then they basically work it out for you based on your GPA, who you're competing with. So if you have like a 3.0 and somebody else is a 3.1, they're going to get that choice over you. And the reason is even though if you qualify for that, they don't want like 40 people going to Iowa, you know. But for that, I think we have a total of 27 affiliates. And then we have UC Davis, but I know that for going to UC Davis, I've heard that you need to be specializing in large animal.
That's how kind of when we had our clinical meeting, they told us like some schools are going to be open, but it might be like this year we might have 4 seats, but it's only 4 if at least 2 of them are large animal. If they're not going to be large animal, we technically only have 2 spots. So we have most of the U.S. affiliates. We don't have, I think we have 25. We don't have UC Davis, Colorado, Midwestern, Western. So like most schools are going to be between the 2.5, 2.9. But there are, like you said, 3.0, 3.3. The highest for us is Tennessee and UPenn. They have 3.5. Those are the two highest you have to have. And it's the same way we put down our top four. And then depending on if they have 7 seats, they take the top people with that highest one who put that as number one, like you said. But most schools, I think, have like 3 or 4 seats. And it works for us. I know you mentioned like some schools do the January class. For us, like it doesn't matter if you're fall or spring semester, you have the option for all the schools.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter for us. So like, cause I'm in a January class, so I'll finish SGU like on the island in December, and then I start right away in January.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just pulled up my thing now. I want to see what the highest required GPA is. I think the highest is a 3.4 for Cornell.
Okay. So that's not too bad.
Not too bad. I know. I mean, like that's the minimum though. If you want to be
Yeah.
competitive, you definitely have to have a higher GPA.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to keep mine up, because I'm like, I want to be able to go where I want to go. So,
right. I don't want to be limited or restricted. I feel the same exact way.
And then I feel like, I mean, it's cool. Both of our schools, like they let us, you know, we can go to Australia, the UK,
Right.
Ireland, Canada. New Zealand is the one that y'all get that we don't get. That's the only one. So, okay. And then the last thing for me, I guess, is just like, for anyone watching, like me and Ashley both have housing videos about Ross and SGU, but just a little spill in this one. Like, how do y'all's on-campus versus off-campus rules and just system work and everything like that?
Right. So the first semester that we're there, whether you're vet prep or whether you're in your first semester, you will live on campus. And the purpose of that is that way you can find off-campus housing. The downside is because in the fall semester, so many people come, we cannot guarantee that there's going to be housing available for them. So they'll help them out and find off-campus housing for them. But those are like those people that got accepted right towards the end. They had the choice to start later, but they chose to start now type of situation. But it's really nice, honestly. We have free washers and dryers. It takes like 5, maybe less than 5 minutes to walk down the hill to class. Security's around all night long. We have a bunch of blue lights, so if we push it and we're locked out or we want to be driven to our dorm from the library, they'll do it for us. They're really awesome. And then after the fact, they host a lot of meetings, I think a couple during the semester, to help us find off-campus housing. They have Ross-approved off-campus housing where security will go there. They feel like it's a safe place. Ross knows that you live there. They trust that landlord. So it's really nice. Am I missing something?
No, that's good. I think with SGU, like, y'all, in my opinion, y'all's dorms are nicer than SGU's. I never lived in a dorm. It's similar. They don't give you an option. They say you have to your first semester, but if you have a kid or if you insist on bringing your animal, you can't live on campus. And my cat is like a terrorist, and my parents were like, he's not staying here. He's going with you. So I lived off campus. But what's different, whether you start on campus or not, you kind of have to find your housing by yourself. And everything for us works on Facebook down there. I don't know if it's the same for y'all.
All Facebook.
Everything, even in Grenada, like not even with the school, everything's on Facebook. So we have a huge Facebook page where people just post, and it's mostly from students or even maybe professors, SGU employees and staff that have housing. So it is mostly, that's what they tell you to go off of, because you know, like it's staff or students who live there. And then SGU does have a list of landlords that they trust that you have access to, but they won't say like you can't or can't live somewhere. But then they also have a blacklist. So if you live somewhere and it's just absolutely terrible, even if that post keeps getting reposted, like if you look on their blacklist, it's just like, oh wait, I shouldn't get them. But there's nothing that SGU says you can't or can't live. If you live outside of the bus route, I mean, that's on you. But campus security does patrol around off campus. And then to get onto campus, we have to show our ID. And I mean, there's security all around campus. I I don't think we have a blue light system though, and they definitely won't drive you to your dorm. And our campus is much bigger than yours, so if your dorm is all the way at the top of campus and you're leaving the library, I mean, I think they just feel that it's safe. Like, it's a highly gated, like, barbed wire fence, like, around the perimeters of campus. So they never really get, like, some random person
right
on the campus. So you're safe as long as you're on there. And I mean, I've left campus to go home at, like, 1 a.m. and I feel fine. So
yeah,
the crime is in general, so.
Yeah, you just reminded me, actually, we have animal dorms on campus.
Wow,
So
that's so cool.
there is like a size limit. Like if you've got like a big Great Dane, it's not going to happen, and you do have to live off campus. Or if you have family, you do have to live off campus. But like this, I think it's a 1 pet per person. And so it's this whole dorm dedicated to pets. And so like I know this girl, like she brought her cat, dogs, like everyone just had like all their, and it was my favorite dorm to go in.
Do you live by yourself or do you still get roommates? Because, like, what if I get roomed with someone who has an evil dog and he hates cats?
Right. Yeah, you can choose. So you can choose either if you want to live in a single, a double, or a triple. The only difference is the cost. So the more people, the cheaper it is.
Yeah. That's cool, though. That's a great option because I feel like, again, like with my tours, there's so many people that, like, are torn. Like, they want to live on campus because they want to get acclimated and everything, but they don't want to leave their pet. And then they make a hard decision, like, do I just live off campus and have to put in a little extra work to socialize, or do I just leave my dog and bring him the second semester? Okay, don't y'all have, like, a school on campus for kids? Like kids down there?
Yeah, we have a prep school. So whether the professors came in and they have kids, or if you come and you have kids, your kids can enroll in the prep school. I'm almost positive it's K through 12.
That's really cool. See, they don't have one through SGU, especially not on campus. But there is like a Montessori school that's like on the SGU bus route. Most people who bring their kids end up getting a car, especially if they're a small child, because it's just more convenient. But I know some people who don't, and as long as you're like a spouse, they call them SO, significant others, you get like an ID. So like if you bring your husband, your wife down, and your kids, they have access to the buses and everything. You could ride it to the front of the school. And so some people use that. I think that's like the most trusted school, unless you do some type of homeschool, which some people do get together and do a homeschool, especially for daycare services. But yeah. So.
Yeah, it's really nice. I actually talked to this guy about it because he came in and I was talking to him about like how was it like having your kids going to the prep school, and he said the prep school education is so good that when they went back to the States, his kid was ahead of the grade.
That's good. Okay. So that's good.
And they have like cute things too. Like on Halloween, they all dressed up in costumes, and like there was a time where the students could like us, the vet school students, could hand them candy and stuff like that, like march on campus. And then we had a secret Santa where we could give them gifts if we wanted to. So it was a really cute program. Like I know that most of the conditions never celebrated Thanksgiving because like why would they? But they did not think Thanksgiving was a thing until like Ross became more established. And now they go and they like Friendsgiving.
That's cute.
Some positives about SGU compared to Ross is I know that SGU has a higher NAVLE pass rate. I'm pretty sure you guys are at like a 93. And we're at I think the 88, but we're on our way up. Like Ross is slowly moving up, and in an attempt to like fix these poor NAVLE scores, Ross has implemented a new testing system. So we have block exams where we have an exam every single week, except it's by subject. So all the subjects are together, but each subject gets a certain amount of numbers. So it's not like I have a big like 100-question exam. It's still only about like 30, 40 questions, but it's like each subject has 9 to 12 questions based on how many credits there are. And the whole purpose of that is to like reinforce material, keep things fresh. So week 1, it was just week 1 stuff, but then week 2, now it's week 1 and 2 stuff. And it keeps going throughout the semester. So we keep seeing that material over and over again. And honestly, it made finals a lot easier. And their hope is that when 7th semesters and people go off to clinics, this material has been fresh in their mind. It's been reinforced over and over again. And then the other thing that they did is, I don't know if you know about the subscription Vet Prep, but we get it for free. They paid for it for every student to get it their 6th and 7th semester to help us prepare for the NAVLE. And we even get a practice NAVLE exam too. that's all covered because they really want us to do better and improve our scores.
That's cool. So SGU, to my knowledge, we do not get vet prep for free. To my knowledge, they might. The people who are in clinicals might, but I feel like if it was something that we did, we would know. So that's
Right.
why I don't think we do.
Right.
How our exams work, we get X amount of exams per credit hour. So if it's a 1 credit class, more than likely you have 1 final. If it's a 4 credit class, you usually have 4 exams. If it's a 5 credit, which are usually like your big anatomy, histology, path 2, the big courses, you usually like have the 4 exams plus you'll have like labs. So then those labs are counting as like exams or something like that. Certain courses might have different things. Like they might have like small like online assignments. Or like especially like once you get higher into your practical skills, which I'm not even there yet because I'm only in term 3.
Right.
But so like even like next semester, I'm supposed to be like in surgical skills. So I'm pretty sure like you learn surgical skills, but there's also a lot of, do you know how to do the right sutures that are probably very heavily in your grade. So, but pretty much like SGU just has a system of like credit hour is how many questions you get. And it's like hit or miss. Like I think I personally would like y'all's like the every week thing, but some people like it because our exams are pretty much every class. You're gonna have like something like every 3 to 5 weeks. So you like know that class is coming up. You can put all your energy into that one class, then you're done. Then the next class is in a week, so you know now you have like a week to just like kind of put most of your effort into that. So it kind of like you said, it makes it harder because then when finals comes, it's like, oh, now I need to look at everything. But as long as I feel like you study and stay on top of it, you should be okay. So.
Yeah, we had that system last semester and everyone was sad and they really missed it. But I mean, the data is kind of off because our block exam system got cut short because of the virus. But who knows? Maybe it's going to work out. They have to like do a year of this block exam system. So technically 3 more semesters since it got cut short to see if it's actually improving people in clinics. But hopefully it works out because I felt kind of good in finals.
Yeah, that's good though.
Yeah.
So.
So then another positive SGU versus Ross is SGU is a good amount of money cheaper than Ross.
Semester basis. Yeah.
SGU tuition, I know it's around $191,000, whereas Ross is $215,000. So if you're breaking it down numbers wise, definitely that comes into play. But I mean, at the end of the day, the school's gonna be expensive either way. But when you're breaking it down money wise and like the dollar is really important to you, maybe saving that $2,000 or $20,000 will definitely make a difference. So that's always something to keep in mind too. For me, honestly, it wasn't that bad because then we had that half year. Well, I mean, I don't know yet, but the people I've spoken to, they say it's not that bad because then we get that extra half year where we get to tackle our loans a little earlier than everybody else. So maybe at the end of the day you end up breaking even, but we won't really know until we're done.
Yeah, and that's what I tell some people. I'm like, don't just hover over the cost, because at the end of the day, like 190,000 versus 215 doesn't make that much of a difference. Like I feel like regardless, unless you're in state, if you're going anywhere out of state, like you're gonna be hundreds of thousands in debt. And I tell people that because some people ask like, is SGU more expensive than like going anywhere in the States? And I'm like, yeah, compared to UGA, my homeschool, yes, it's much more. But like if I was anywhere else besides UGA, it's the same. And in fact, like when you do like the price comparison for tuition by semester, like SGU is still in Ross because I'm pretty sure it's still cheaper than some schools in the state.
Yeah, actually, a friend of mine got into Ohio State and she declined because it was more expensive than Ross.
Yeah.
So,
like I tell people, and then some people say, well, oh, what about the flight and everything like that? I'm like, it's still higher. Like it's still much higher.
Yeah.
So.
Because I didn't even have any in-state schools. So either way, I knew I was going to be going into debt. So it was like,
so
weigh my options here.
But so yeah, that is the difference because you get done 6 months early, so that's 6 months that you don't have the interest because the semesters still add up the same. Like that's what some people I like even when I'm telling them like they're like, oh, Ross, you finished in 3.5 years versus SGU is 4 years. But I was like, yeah, but you still have to think you pay tuition by semester, and if they're on a tri-semester system, we're on bi-semester. They finish early, like long term, but they're still in school for the same amount. So you still took out the same amount of loans. It's just you finished early, so.
Because if you like take away your breaks, you're technically in school for 3.5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just we're in school. I don't know if you knew this, but St. Kitts is actually rabies free, and I know that Grenada isn't. So
I knew when I was moving down with Toulouse, I had to get his rabies titer test.
So I know, like, when you bring an animal here, they're really strict about it because they don't want rabies on their island. There's also no snakes here too because the mongoose eat.
That's cool. See,
Yeah.
Grenada's not rabies free. They still require you to have a rabies certificate and rabies vaccine, but it's not rabies free. And we do have the mongooses too. We have the Mona monkeys. I think there are snakes, but they're only like way up north on the mountain. Like you're not just gonna see a snake.
Right, you wouldn't see a snake.
We have the African giant snails too.
Oh, really?
Yes. And the African cane toads.
Yeah, I've heard some things that we have, but I have yet to see them. And I literally hiked up and down like a million elevations. And so if I have not seen them, I'm not scared of them yet.
Yeah.
Okay. For anybody that's bringing like a significant other or just family in general, we call your significant other like a VIP. And they'll have their own Facebook page, and all the VIPs will like organize activities, hang out together. We have semester Olympics, and the VIPs even have their own team. So it's good. Like everybody stays engaged. You know, it's not like your significant other is just going to sit at home, left out, bored all the time. So they try to, keep everything fun. There's even like a good amount of VIPs here, which is pretty cool. And then in regards to like labor laws, because I know a lot of times VIPs just get super bored, and it makes sense. Like you're in school sitting all day, and your significant other is just sitting there. So it's not, you can't just go and get a regular old job anywhere because you need a work visa and you're only here on a student visa. So a friend of mine, he does a bunch of odd jobs basically where he gets like paid under the table. And one of the jobs he does, he works at a farmer's market. And so he'll help like on Saturdays when they're like selling like the avocados and, fruits and vegetables. Another job he has is twice a week he has to climb a coconut tree and cut down the coconuts. And then his third odd job is he scrapes the bottom of boats. So he has a positive outlook on it because when would he ever do this in his life? And he's only going to do it for like 2 years. So he thinks it's so cool to be like an island husband. But these are like the options that you have. I don't know if you guys have any opportunities for significant others to work.
So they call ours SOs, which is just short for significant others. Like you said, there's a whole Facebook page, stuff like that. Sometimes they'll like, depending on what it is, they'll have like little groups and stuff. I know like vet school has Olympics and med school has Olympics. So it kind of depends. And I think it's one of those things, like I said, they get a student ID. So they're allowed on campus and stuff like that. Just like you would, like they don't differentiate. I think at the bottom of their ID, it just says significant other instead of like med. As far as labor laws, I don't think you can work there because I never see anyone's like SO like working at like the grocery store or something like that. But I know SGU will employ people. When I was getting trained to do a tour, to be a tour guide, I know one of the people on my tours, on my practice tour, asked and said like, "Hey, my SO is like a nurse. Could they work at the health center?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, they like employ people." I've personally never gone in there and seen someone that looks like a random American SO in there, but they say it's possible. I know when I got scuba dive certified, my instructor, my dive master, was an SO of someone on their last semester in the island. So he was getting ready to leave. So I honestly think, like you said, it's like under the table type jobs, and it just kind of depends on what they have set up. I don't think it's just that you can just go apply. And a lot of SOs still just work from home. They do like virtual jobs. They try to set something up if they're at like a corporate company from home. And stuff like that. So they sit on like Skype and do stuff from home. And it depending on the SO, some of them don't work. Some of them are there, especially when they bring the whole family and they have like kids. They might do like a part-time. A lot of the schools will employ you, or people do like babysitting and stuff like that. So they find ways. Because like you said, like eventually you just sit in the house and it's like nothing.
Right. You need something to do. The last thing that I could think to mention is, I don't know about like you guys, your surgery opportunities, but Ross is known because a lot of students get the opportunity to do more surgeries than might be available at other schools. So we have kennel dogs that work for 2 years. And so your first semester, you're required to walk those dogs, feed, groom, bathe, all stuff like that. And we'll rotate all the students out. And then the upper semesters get to do like spays and neuters on those dogs. And then usually at that point, they're done working. And then also when you're in your upper semester, you get to do your own surgery on a donkey or a sheep or goat, something like that. And then you're responsible for that semester to make sure that that animal recovers well, it's healthy, everything went well. So that's like a really cool thing that I don't know if you guys get the opportunity to do. Really?
No, and that sounds really cool. And I like vaguely remember when I did the tour, there's like the flock of sheep and donkeys in the center of campus, and they told us like when you're in your upper semester, you have to come out, check on it, blah blah blah, say if changed. But I didn't know about like the kennel dogs, and I think that's cool. I mean, they guarantee, I feel like just like any other school, you get to do a spay and you get to do a neuter.
Right.
When you're doing your little rotation through the small animal clinic, when you're in like your term 6, if you get a surgery, you might be able to help. And then also in term 6, you get to do ambulatory services. So you might go to the pig farm. They say that's one everyone gets to do, and you get to castrate pigs. Or you might go out to do this, but it's not specifically surgery. Like, I think that's really cool that y'all can do that.
Yeah. Like there's a doctor in the room, but it's your surgery, and it's you and a group of students. I think like maybe 3 or 4 students, and so you guys are responsible. You got to communicate, like, did you check its vitals today? Is it good? Is it stable? And it's like a 6 a.m. to like 7 p.m. job, but it's your patient, so it's really cool. I know like the other hands-on opportunities is like if you take an extracurricular. Like a friend of mine took acupuncture her 3rd semester. And so after she like finished the course, one of her final projects was they got to do acupuncture to the kennel dogs that had joint pain, and they actually saw improvements in those dogs.
That's cool. I don't think we have any extracurricular courses like that's actually in your coursework. We have a selective that you can do in Kenya. I think higher up there's certain like selectives you can do like in term 6, but just throughout your time there you can't. But we have a lot of clubs like for days. And those clubs have a lot of wet labs. Of course, being on the island, it's limited. It's not like at your U.S. schools where like half the school could show up and get to participate. Like it's a lottery system, but usually like they do the same things every year. So if you don't get it this year, you can do it next year. Like we have one called Ocean Spirits where you get to help the researchers, because it's more than just the vet school. They have researchers on the island that get the leatherback sea turtles. They tag the females that come up. They count the eggs. They see who came back, who didn't come back, stuff like that. They make sure the eggs like aren't at the water. They're buried. So like stuff like that. It's an experience people get to do. And then another thing, we don't have an acupuncture course, but we have a partnership with the Chai Institute that you can get acupuncture certified. So we have that. Ours isn't only a semester, it's a whole year. So like it goes from a December to a December. And then once you're done, well, how it works with us is that you do 3 blocks online, 2 blocks in person, and the blocks are spread out throughout the year. And then once you graduate, you're certified. Because I plan to do it this December coming up.
Yeah, the thing with the Chai Institute, I know if you're in-state, it's your responsibility to travel to them to do your labs. But since you're international, they come to you, which I think is so cool.
Yeah, that's how they do for us. They said the only thing you have to do is go to Florida, which is where it is, and take the license exam at the end.
Yeah.
And it all falls in December, so you should be home. So
Right.
That's really cool. Okay, well, I think that's it that I have for mine. So we're gonna do like a second video that's gonna be on Ashley's page. So like be sure to like click the link. I'm gonna leave a card at the top of this video. And go check out her page, check out all her other videos and all of that. And then
If you watched all the way through, you are an amazing person. And if you remember, I said in the video that we recorded it yesterday. So now here's me today exiting this video. So thanks for watching. Be sure if you made it this far, go like, subscribe to Ashley's videos, like and subscribe to the rest of my videos. Again, she's going to be uploading a very similar video just about going to school in the Caribbean, going to school out of the country. But we also have so many videos if you're interested in SGU or Ross, if you're interested in applying to vet school in general. Check out our pages. We have so many videos. Right now, everything is in the air about whether school is going to continue in the fall for both Ross and SGU with this whole pandemic going on. We don't know, but it doesn't stop you from applying. It doesn't stop you from looking into stuff. So yeah, be great, be safe, and until next time.